Hey guys, it's Alexandra from EyeLoveKnots.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a corner-to-corner Santa coaster worked in half double crochet boxes. You're going to find the crochet pattern for this linked in the description box below. I'm working with WeCrochet Dishie yarn. That's a 100% worsted weight cotton yarn in the colors Fiesta Red, Black, and Bumblebee. I like using this cotton yarn because the colors are color fast, which means that they're set. They're not going to fade or bleed when they're wet. It is the peace of mind that makes me very happy. I do also like cotton yarn for my coasters because it's more durable and absorbent, but I do have coasters that I've made myself in Red Heart Super Saver, which is a 100% acrylic yarn, and they also work just fine. So you can use any kind of yarn for this project. A cup of coffee is not going to be hot enough to melt the fibers of a synthetic yarn. So just don't place anything fresh out of the oven on top of this coaster and you're golden. Together with this worsted weight yarn, I'm going to be using an H8 5mm crochet hook. I ordered this one from Sienna's Boutique on Etsy and it's one of my favorite hooks. I have several hooks that I've ordered from her shop. I'll link it in the description box below if you're interested, as well as the WeCrochet Dishie yarn. The coaster is going to be about 4 inches. Gauge is not essential for this project unless the finished size is essential to you. This is worked using the corner-to-corner technique, meaning we start in a corner with one box. We build up diagonally until we have the width that we need. In this case, it's 7 boxes wide. Then we start decreasing until we reach 1 box in the other corner. So this coaster measures about 3 5/8 inches. Before adding the border, after the border it's about 4 inches. I would wait to fasten off any yarn until you get to at least row 8. That way if you have to frog anything, you're not going to be losing any yarn. But row 8 will give you enough to measure the width there, and then you can decide if you're measuring smaller, go up a crochet hook size. If you're measuring larger, go down a crochet hook size. If the finish size does not matter, then just go with the flow and crochet away. If you want to add extra width and height to this, you can add additional rounds to the border. I've just done 1 round and I've matched the colors on the sides where the belt is. But after you join up here, you can chain 1, then work a single crochet into each single crochet stitch and each chain 1 space all the way around, making sure in the corner chain spaces to work another increase. I would do the same thing, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So that is up to you. I just did 1 round. I made my coaster to look like Santa because I am celebrating Christmas in July. But it would be really cute in other colors. You could do green for an elf or a leprechaun. I started this one in the spring. I do still have to weave in all the ends. You could do brown for a pilgrim. Lots of fun options there. While I have this piece in front of me, there are lots of ends to weave in. 24 ends is what I counted at the end. There is less if you choose to carry your yarn up the back. I did not do that with mine because I did not want to have any colors crossing the other one. Yarn floats of yellow over black or anything like that. So I fastened off my yarn every single time and I reattached it. I also changed the colors for the border to match the belt. And that added extra ends as well because I fastened off each time and reattached the yarn. So be prepared for weaving in your ends. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a slip knot. So I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here, wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger. Then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the one on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. Hold the working yarn in my right hand and the short tail end in my left. I'm going to tighten that so this knot goes to normal tension. In this red, I'm going to increase up to 2 boxes, so that's equal to 2 rows. I'm going to start with a chain 5. To chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. This gives us 3 chains. Each one of those V shapes is a chain. So I'm going to work a couple more, so I have 5. I'm going to half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So I don't count the loop on my hook. Skip the 1st and 2nd chain, and in that 3rd chain I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook right into the center of the chain, yarn over and pull through. That gives me 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Then I'll continue half double crocheting into each of those next 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert my hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert my hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That's going to give me my first box, and I'm going to count the skipped chains here as a stitch. So our box is 4 stitches wide. For row 2, we're going to start with a chain 5. Then we're going to half double crochet into that 3rd chain. Then half double crochet into each of the next 2 chains. That's going to complete our first box of this row. I have an alligator mouth shape here. I'm going to take that bottom square, flip it so it's mirrored. I'm going to count over 4 stitches from that very first stitch there. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches is that chain on the top. It's going to be the stitch that is the most natural for you to lay this together and slip stitch join to. So that chain at the top, I'm going to insert my hook right into the center of it. Then yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on my hook. That's a slip stitch join, and that's how we're going to join all the boxes as we go. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to work 2 half double crochets into the space that is in between where we slip stitched and the previous stitch underneath that. The space in between those 2 stitches, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets. And now for the last stitch, since we're on the edge here, I like to work the very last stitch into the foundation chain. So I'll yarn over, insert right into that chain there on the left side, and complete my half double crochet. And now row 2 is finished. And here in this second box here, we're going to count that chain 1 as a stitch. So that still gives us 4 stitches there. Row 3, we're going to have 3 boxes. We're going to start with a chain 5. Then we'll work down the box here, working a half double crochet into the 3rd chain, 4th and 5th. Then we have that alligator mouth shape. We're going to take the bottom piece, flip it so it's mirrored, count over 4 stitches from the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4 is that chain from the chain 1. Insert your hook right into the center there and complete a slip stitch by yarning over, pulling through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. We need to work one more red box, so we're going to chain 1. I like to fold down the fabric on the left side so it doesn't get caught in my hook. And since we're in the middle, we're going to work all of our stitches into the same place. And that's going to be into the space in between those 2 stitches there. So I'll yarn over, insert my hook right into the space underneath where I just joined to. That's in between those 2 stitches. And then I'll complete a half double crochet. Now the space is easier for you to see right there. I'm going to continue working so that I have 3 half double crochets in there. And remember, the chain 1 here counts as one of our stitches, so we have 4 stitches. Then we're going to slip stitch join to the top chain there, the 4th stitch on that next box. But we're going to be adding in black. So I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch. I have the loop on my hook and the stitch, and here I'm going to pause. I'm going to set this down, grab the black, form a loop, leaving a tail end long enough I can comfortably weave in, and put this loop onto my hook. Then I'm going to pull it through to complete the slip stitch. I've completed the previous box in red. Pull down on the red just to tighten it up. Drop the tail end of the black, and now I'm in a position ready to go in the black color. For the third box, we're going to chain 1, 2 half double crochets into the space that's in between those 2 stitches underneath where we just slip stitched 2. And because we're on the edge, I'm going to work the third half double crochet into the foundation chain there on the left. And now row 3 is finished. And we have 3 boxes. For row 4, we're going to start with a chain 5. Work down the chain to form our first box. Flip the fabric, slip stitch join to the top chain, fold down my fabric here on the left so it doesn't get caught in my hook, chain 1, work 3 half double crochets into that space there underneath where we just joined 2 in between those 2 stitches. Then I'll bring the fabric back up. I am going to go back to the red color now to work 2 boxes in red. There's going to be 2 different types of color changes. One where we're pulling our yarn up vertically, and one where we're pulling our yarn over horizontally. Here we need to bring this red tail up vertically. So I'm going to first hold the fabric in my right hand, pull on the tail end in case this stitch here has come loose. I'm going to yarn over with the red. I want it to be on top of my hook. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch where I'm going to slip stitch join. So I have the black loop on my hook, the red tail end, and now the stitch where I'm going to slip stitch to, and I'm going to complete my slip stitch in the black. Then I'm going to drop the black for a moment, pick up the red tail, yarn over with the red and pull it through. Then I'll grab the black tail and I'm going to tug on it so this loop will disappear. Then I'll bring the black to the front where my other tail ends are, tighten down the red loop so it's at normal tension, and then chain 1. And now I'm ready to work the next 2 boxes in my red color. I'm going to keep this black here on the front side. So I'll work 3 half double crochets into that next space. Then slip stitch join to the top of the next box. Chain 1. Work 2 half double crochets into that space. And 1 half double crochet into the foundation chain on the left side. And now row 4 is finished with 4 boxes. That's 2 black boxes and 2 red boxes. For row 5, we're going to start with a chain 5. Work down the chain to form our first box in the red. Flip our fabric over, slip stitch join, chain 1, work our second box in the red, that's 3 half double crochets into that space there. And now we need to join with yellow. So I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch as if to slip stitch. Then I'll put this down, grab my yellow, form a loop, leaving a tail end I can comfortably weave in, put that loop on my hook, and then pull it through. Tighten the red a little, drop the tail ends to the back, and then I'm going to work one box in the yellow, so I'm going to chain one, work 3 half double crochets into this space there, then I'm going to slip stitch join, switching to the black. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch as if to slip stitch. Before I complete it, I'm going to pull up the tail from the back. I'm going to pull it in case it's come loose. Then just bring it up and over my hook. That way I have the yellow loop, the black stitch, and the black thread over my hook. Then I'm going to complete my slip stitch with the yellow. But this captures the black so that it's in a position where we can now switch colors. So I'm holding the tension of the loop with my right hand, drop the yellow tail, pick up the black, yarn over, pull it through the yellow, then holding the fabric here in my right hand, pull on the yellow tail so this loop will disappear. Then drop the yellow, bring the black loop to normal tension, chain one, and now we can finish out this row with 2 black boxes. So 3 half double crochets into this space here. Slip stitch join to the top of the next box. Chain one, 2 half double crochets into the space here. Before we complete our next stitch, we need to switch back to red. So we're going to yarn over, insert a hook into the side edge, yarn over and pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to go to the red tail that's on the other side of my ball. I have just 1 ball of yarn, so right now I'm working from the center pull. I'm going to find the other tail end, and I'm going to work with that. Forming a loop here, I'm going to put the loop on my hook. This counts as the last yarn over of this half double crochet, and pull it through. That completes the stitch in the black, and now I have the red to work with. And now row 5 is finished with 5 boxes. That's 2 red boxes, 1 yellow box, and 2 black boxes. And you can see this red tail end has come loose. We'll tighten that down before we pick that back up later. The way that I'm showing you how to change colors is my preferred method when I'm working the stitch pattern. If you prefer to do it a different way, go ahead and do whatever way you're most comfortable with. This is just the way that I like to do it. For row 6, we'll start with a chain 5. Then we'll work down the chain to form our first box in red. Flip our fabric. We're going to be switching back to black. I'm going to tighten the black tail in case it's come loose. I'm going to yarn over so the black tail's over my hook. And then I'm going to slip stitch join as normal with the red color. Then drop the red to the back for a moment, pick up the black, yarn over and pull through. Then pull the red loop tight so it disappears. Pull it up and over to the front where all the tail ends are right now. Chain one with the black and work 3 half double crochets into that space there. Now I'm going to be switching back to yellow, and I don't want to pull the yellow up and over because that's going to create a very noticeable float. So I'm going to fasten off the yellow. and reattach it up here. If you don't mind the float on the back, then you can go ahead and pull it up and over, but I don't want that on the back of my coaster. So I'm going to drop the black here to the front, insert my hook as if to slip stitch, then pull the loop over for the yellow, tighten down the black stitch, drop the tail end for the yellow to the front, and now I'm ready to chain 1, move the yellow tail out of my way, and I'm going to work 3 half double crochets into that space. Then slip stitch join as normal, chain 1, work 3 half double crochets in the yellow into that space, now I'm going to switch back to red for the final 2 boxes, so I'll tighten the red loop up, pull it up and over my hook, hold the tension there, slip stitch as normal with the yellow, then I'll drop the yellow for a moment, pick up the red, yarn over and pull through, tighten the yellow, bring it to the front here, and then I will chain 1 and work 3 half double crochets into that space there. Slip stitch join, chain 1 and finish this out with 2 half double crochets into that space, 1 half double crochet into the side edge. Row 6 is complete with 6 boxes. For row 7, I'm going to start with a chain 5. Then I'll work down the chain, slip stitch join, work 1 more box in the red, so chain 1 and 3 half double crochets, then I'm going to work the next box in yellow, so I'm going to insert my hook as if to slip stitch, hold the tension, drop the red, pick up the yellow tail, tighten it if you need to, yarn over and pull it through, tighten down the red to normal tension, and then chain 1 and work 3 half double crochets there for another box. Then I'm going to insert as if to slip stitch and then put this down. My next box is going to be black. I'm going to go to my ball of yarn, find the tail end from the other side of the ball, and attach this here. And pull down the yellow, drop the black, and now I'm ready to work 1 box in black. Insert as if to slip stitch, put this down. The next box is going to be yellow. My yellow is down here on the bottom right, so I'm going to add another tail end here to the top to work this box. As I was looking in the back, I was thinking, man, how perfect would it have been if I would have cut this tail a little bit longer and then could have pulled that strand through there for less ends to weave in, but that's okay, I didn't do that. So I'll just go to my ball, grab the tail end from the other side, Put that on my hook and pull it through, pull down the black, drop the yellow, and now I'm ready to work my next box in yellow. Then I'm going to insert as if to slip stitch, hold the tension, drop the yellow, pick up the red, and I'll finish this off with 2 boxes in red. And that's row 7 complete. 7 boxes across, 2 red, 1 yellow, 1 black, 1 yellow, and 2 red. Before I continue, I'm going to go to that middle black box and fasten off. The buckle's going to be built around it, so I don't need this tail. And I'm not carrying it because I don't want to have the float on the back. So if you want to carry it over whenever you come to the right side of the belt, you can leave it there and just pull it over. But you will have a black float on top of the yellow, and I didn't want that for mine, so that's why I fastened off. I'm also finished with the first part of the belt, so I'm going to go ahead and fasten that black tail off too. For row 8, the coaster is now as tall and as wide as we want it to be. Now we're going to start decreasing back down to 1 box. So we're no longer going to start with a chain 5 and work down the box. Instead, we're going to chain 1 and turn, slip stitch into the 2nd stitch, slip stitch into the 3rd stitch, and then slip stitch into the 4th stitch, which is the chain. Then we'll start with a chain 1 and work our first box here with 3 half double crochets. Then slip stitch to the next box, chain 1, and work another box here in red. And there's our first 2 boxes, and you can see there now we're working on a flat edge. The next 2 boxes are going to be yellow, so I'm going to tighten that yellow strand up, and then place it on my hook, and then slip stitch with the red, then bring the red to the front, pick up the yellow, yarn over, pull through with the yellow, tighten the red all the way down, and then I'll work my next 2 boxes in yellow. My next box is going to be black, so I'll slip stitch here with the yellow, put that down, grab a black tail end, put that on my hook and pull it through, tighten down the yellow, pull it to the front, drop the black tail to the front, and then I'm ready to go. And I'll work 1 box in black. Then I'll finish this off with 1 red box. So I'm going to grab the red, tighten it up, put that on my hook, slip stitch with the black, drop the black to the front, pick up the red, tighten down the black, and then work one box in red. Then I'll slip stitch to the top here. Now that we've reached the last box here, we're not going to chain one and work another box on top of it because we're working on an edge on this side as well. So when you count across from the first box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes now. That's 2 red, 2 yellow, 1 black, and 1 red. For row 9, we're going to chain 1 and turn, slip stitch into the second stitch, slip stitch into the third stitch, and then slip stitch into the fourth stitch, which is the chain, as we work on our edge. Our next box is going to be in black, so I'm going to pick up the black, pull it through my hook, tighten down the red, then with the black, chain 1 and work my first box into this space. Then I'll slip stitch join. I'm going to flip it over, fasten off that red that I just changed from. Alright, I have one more box to work in the black. Then insert as if to slip stitch, go to the yellow tail, tighten it up, bring it over my hook, then complete my slip stitch, then drop the black, pull the yellow through, tighten that black up, and I'll work my last yellow box, chain 1 and 3 half double crochets. Then insert as if to slip stitch, drop the yellow, pick up the red, yarn over and pull it through, tighten that yellow a little bit, and then chain 1 and finish this off with 2 red boxes. And slip stitch join. And row 9 is complete. We have 5 boxes. That's 2 black, 1 yellow, and 2 red. I'm going to come to the back side here. I'm going to fasten off the yellow. I have another yellow attached here on the bottom. For row 10, chain 1 and turn. Slip stitch into the second stitch and across. Then chain 1, work 2 boxes in the red. Then I'm going to drop my tail end here to the front, pick up the black, insert as if to slip stitch, yarn over with the black and pull it through, pull down on the red, chain 1 with the black, and then finish this off with 2 black boxes. slip stitch join, and row 10 is done with 4 boxes. That's 2 red and 2 black. For row 11, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, slip stitch into the second stitch and across. Work 1 black box. Insert as if to slip stitch, drop the red, pick up the black, and pull it through, tighten the black, and I'm going to finish this off with 2 red boxes. And now row 11 is finished with 3 boxes. That's 1 black and 2 red. I'm going to flip it to the back to fasten off the black. And now we're just going to finish this off with 2 more rows. 12 and 13 are going to be worked in red. 12 will leave us with 2 boxes, and 13 will leave us with 1 box. And that's our last box. Now we just need to add a border and then weave in our mini ends. For the border, I am going to alternate my colors so that I have red here along the top and the first part. Then I'm going to switch to black to match the belt. Then I'll switch back to red to work the bottom half, switch back to black for the belt on the other side, and then switch back to red. That's going to involve fastening off my yarn each time and reattaching a new strand, which will add to the mini ends that we have. So if you don't want to fasten off and reattach your yarn, you can just work in one color all the way around. I am going to show you switching colors though, because that's how I'm doing my coaster. Starting the border, I am not going to chain 1 because it kicks this stitch out right here. So to keep it even, I'm not going to chain 1 here. We're going to pull these 2 boxes apart that are right underneath where we just joined, and we're going to insert our hook into that space in between the boxes. So I'm going to hold the tension on my loop and then insert my hook into that space. Yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. That completes our first single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1. And into the space in between the next 2 boxes, I'm going to work another single crochet. Insert my hook right into the space, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. Then I'll chain 1. Into the space in between the next 2 boxes, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both loops to complete a single crochet. And that's going to be the pattern all the way around. It's going to be chain 1, then single crochet into the space in between the next 2 boxes. Chain 1, single crochet into the space in between the next 2 boxes. All the way until we get to the corner. So there's my last space in between boxes. Then I'm going to chain 1. And into this corner stitch here at the top, I'm going to insert my hook, picking up 2 loops from that stitch, and complete a single crochet. Then I'll chain 1 and single crochet back into that same exact stitch. That's an increase, and we increase in the corners so that they lay flat. Now I'm going to continue along, chain 1, single crochet into the next space in between boxes. The next space in between the boxes is right in between a black box and a red box. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my black now. So I'm going to put this down for a moment. I'm going to grab my black. I'm going to put that loop on my hook and I'm going to pull it through. But I'm not going to tighten this red down all the way. I'm going to tighten it just so that it looks like the same size as the other chain ones. Then I'll drop the tail end, pick up the black. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's raining so hard right now. I can hear it outside my window and I absolutely love it. And now I'm going to work my next single crochet in black. I'm going to pull up a loop really quick. You can play with the tail ends here to tighten these stitches up just so that they're consistent with the rest. I'm going to continue through here in the same pattern, chain 1, single crochet into the next space in between those boxes, chain 1, single crochet into the next space. Then I'm going to switch back to red here the same way that I just switched to black over here. So let me put this down for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and fasten off that red. Holding the tension of the loop, put the red on my hook and pull it through. And when I switch hands, I'm still holding the tension just with my left hand here. That's going to count as my chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet into the next space. Then I can go back here and I can tighten up the stitches with the tail ends from the other side. And again, just so that they're consistent with the shaping of all the rest of the stitches. Then I'll chain 1, single crochet into the next space, and now I've reached the next corner. I'll chain 1. In that very corner stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet. Then chain 1 and single crochet back in there. And that stitch might open up as you go because that slip knot is not secured yet, so you can hold the fabric with your right hand, pull on the tail end with your left, and it'll close that back up to normal tension. And I'll chain 1, single crochet into the next space here in between boxes, and I'm ready to continue in pattern all the way down to the next corner. Chain 1, single crochet into the space in between the next two boxes all the way down. Now I've reached my next corner. I'll work my last chain 1. In the corner stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and now we're going to work up the very last side here, starting with a chain 1, single crochet into the space in between the next two boxes. Future Alexandra here. As I've weaved in most of my ends, I want to talk about the belt on the right side. That would be the second black tail that you would attach if you are matching the border. The last stitch I did there in red before I switched to black, I already wove in the ends. But if I would have paid more attention, I would have done that one in black, since all the other stitches underneath it would line up black as well. So you may want to do that one as black instead of red. I'm going to insert my hook into the next space between the boxes, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, pause here. I'm going to go over to the other side, fasten off the black so I can reuse that tail. Then I'll chain 1, single crochet into the next space, chain 1, single crochet into the next space. Now I'm going to pull my red through. I'm going to fasten off from back here. Make sure not to tighten the black down too much. I just want it to look the same as all the rest of them. This will be the chain 1 of my black, and now I'm going to single crochet with the red into the next space. Tighten down that red a little bit. Then I'll chain 1, single crochet into the next space, chain 1. I reached my next corner. This is going to be the last box that we finish before we slip stitched. So in order to get an equal height of the corner, I'm actually going to go to the second half double crochet there. So looking immediately here, I'm going to see the first half double crochet after the chain. Then I'm going to see the second half double crochet there. I'm going to work my single crochet into that stitch, then chain 1 and single crochet back into that same stitch. And that's just to give me an even corner here. If I work it in the other stitches, then it's going to be lower than all the rest and the shaping will be off. Then I'll chain 1 and I'm back to the beginning, slip stitch join to the very first stitch and fasten off. Then I'll pull up on that loop to break it, insert my hook into the same stitch I just slip stitched to from the wrong side to the right side, yarn over and pull it through so it's on the back with all the rest of them. Now it's time to grab our tapestry needle and weave in our ends. I'm going to show you one end. All the rest of them are going to be worked the same way, and as I go through them I'm just going to match them into the same color, so yellow into yellow, black into black, red into red. Thread my tapestry needle. I do all my passes the same 3 times. That's my magic number. If you feel secure after 2, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work a 4th one, go ahead and do it. It's whatever you feel the most secure with your ends. I also don't pick up the whole stitch on my needle. I break the stitch in half when I enter, and I do the same thing when I exit, and this is to help capture my yarn better. So I'm going to insert my needle into a nearby stitch. I'm going to run my needle under several stitches. This pattern is easy to work your ends into the bulkiness that's already there from working the boxes. Then I'll hold my fabric here with my left hand and pull the needle through. That helps so my fabric doesn't bunch up too much. Then I use my fingers to manipulate the fabric if I need to, so that everything lays naturally. I don't want it to bunch up. Then I insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, run back through several of the stitches I just worked, and break my last stitch in half as I exit. Give it a tug, use my fingers to manipulate the fabric, and now I have just one more pass, breaking this first stitch in half as I insert, run through several of the same stitches I just worked, and break my last stitch in half as I exit. And cotton yarn can be tough on your fingers, so a really good tool to have is going to be jewelry pliers. You want the eye of the needle to be facing you so you can see directly down it. Then you just put the flat part of your jewelry pliers onto your needle, hold the fabric, and pull it through. Once I get it through, I just use my fingers to pull the rest of the way, give it a tug, manipulate the fabric, and then I'm ready to fasten off. And I'm going to work all the rest of them off camera. As you work around, if you have spaces where the colors are overlapping, like I have here with the red over the yellow, and you want to cover that up, you can do that with your tail ends as you weave in. So I ran my needle under several stitches to get me close to that spot. Then I'm going to work from the wrong side up to the right side near the stitch, and then just work over and back down. Then I'll do it again on the other side. And work upward and back to the wrong side. And I'll do one more here in the middle. And once you're happy with the way it looks, and it's even with all the rest of the stitching, then you can go ahead and just finish weaving in your end. After 24 ends, my coaster is ready to go. That's the only downside because this little coaster is absolutely adorable. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. You'll find the crochet pattern for it linked in the description box below. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.